Hey guys, we are in some very big and powerful energetics today. We are in day one of a 2-day transit with Mars opposing Neptune. This is a very big energetic that's going to be having a major impact. We also have a lot of other stuff going on in the midst of it today. We have the moon, Mercury, and Venus all making aspect in conjunction with this Mars-Neptune opposition. And these are all the personal planets, you guys. So we're really going to be feeling this today. Very powerful energetics. Welcome back to my channel, everybody. My name is Aubrey. Today is Thursday, September 2nd, 2021. And this is my astrological outlook of the day. And today is one of those days where there's just so much going on. We're definitely going to be feeling it, okay? This is definitely probably going to be bringing some things up for us in our lives, and we're just going to be feeling these energetics generally all the way around. So let's start at the top. I guess I should start by listing out the transits that are happening today, and then I will go in hard and start talking about Mars opposing Neptune and then go from there. So first of all, like I said, day one of this 2-day transit that we have, Mars exactly opposing Neptune. We also have the moon very active today in late Cancer. The moon will also be aspecting Neptune. The moon will be opposing Pluto. The moon will be squaring Venus. Venus today is at 21 degrees of Libra, making an exact opposition to the Eris Point. This is another big time energetic. And we have Mercury, a important planet right now because of the placements actually of the other planets, who's going to be making an exact trine to the North Node, the future path, the direction forward. So a whole bunch of stuff going on today in the midst of this main aspect, which is Mars in opposition to Neptune. So back to the top. Let's talk about Mars opposing Neptune. But actually, before I get into that, I do want to reference the placements of the Sun and the Earth today for these transits, because they're really kind of explaining what is going on in regards to everything else. So for those of you who are new to my channel, or just who are unaware of the Sabian symbols, what they are is a group of symbols that represent each and every one of the 360 degrees of the zodiac. And whenever a planet is at a specific degree, we can look to the symbol, we can read the symbol and analyze the symbol, and it gives us more information about what is the purpose of this aspect taking place in the context of the unfolding story that really carries us through time energetically. So I always look at the Sabian symbols because they just give us a better ability to analyze the energetics at any point in time. And today, the placement of the Sun and the Earth, which is always in polar opposition to the Sun, I feel like the symbology being discharged is relevant in regards to all of this other active energy that we have going on today. So the Sabian symbol of 11 degrees of Virgo, where the Sun is today, this degree is a boy molded in his mother's aspirations for him. And 11 Pisces, where the Earth is today, this is men traveling a narrow path seeking inspiration, or it might have been seeking illumination, one of those two. I can't remember. I wrote down inspiration, but it might have been illumination. Kind of the same thing. So just to set the stage for the analysis of the energetics that I'm going to be giving you guys going forward in this report, the Sun is talking about a boy molded into his mother's aspirations of him. And I feel like this is very telling, considering the fact that we are primarily dealing with a Mars opposition to Neptune today. And Mars in opposition to Neptune, this can really bring about sort of an energetic where we are presented an ideal, but it might not actually be reality. Some type of an illusion, some type of fantasy that is sort of causing us to act and move towards that. And I feel like this is symbolic of the boy molded into his mother's aspirations of him, like some type of ideal that we are being projected and asked to adhere to grow into, to evolve into. And then 11 degrees of Pisces, men traveling a narrow path and a narrow path seeking inspiration. On Earth right now, it's like we are very much immersed in the shadows this week. There is a lot of black moon energy going on. We started the week with 2 black moon days, with the moon with the black moon, and tomorrow actually the north node is going to, actually like late overnight tonight, the north node is going to be moving to 6 degrees of Gemini, where the black moon is currently, and we are going to be in a north node black moon conjunction for about the next week. And so it's like on Earth, like people are traveling this narrow path, seeking this illumination, seeking this inspiration in the midst of these shadows, in the midst of this fog. And you know, the fog is representative also of Neptune, which rules projections and ideals and fantasies and illusion and delusion. So it's like we are all on this narrow path right now, seeking illumination, seeking inspiration, but there's this other force that is trying to actually mold us into their aspirations for us, instead of allowing us to sort of evolve and organically grow towards the truth and the inspiration and the illumination that we're actually seeking. So I found that was interesting, just simply the placements of the sun and the earth today in regards to the rest of the aspects that are going on, in the context of all of the aspects that are going on generally right now. Last week, this week, moving into the new moon in Virgo next week, where we will have the North Node and Black Moon in a conjunction for the new moon. So this will be an energetic that's kind of carrying us through that whole cycle. But anyways, back to the main business of the day, and this is Mars coming into an exact opposition with Neptune. Let me go ahead and state the Sabian symbols of the degrees where this is happening. It is happening at 23 degrees of Virgo, where Mars is located. It is happening at 23 degrees of Pisces, where Neptune retrograde is located. And the Sabian symbols of those degrees, 23 degrees of Virgo is a lion tamer rushes fearlessly into the circus arena. And 23 degrees of Pisces is a materializing medium giving a seance. And so, putting the symbols aside for just a moment, let's discuss the general nature of Mars opposing Neptune. Now, Mars is our action, our passion, our ego, what we're doing. And Neptune, it's also courage and bravery and strength. And Neptune is the ruler of the seas. Neptune is our soul and our ability to sort of merge back into spirit and all that is. But Neptune also rules Hollywood and media projections and stories and fantasies and illusions and delusions and seeing things through rose-colored glasses. And Neptune is in Pisces, it's home sign. So Neptune really is the stronger planet out of the two that are in opposition right now, because Mars is in Virgo, ruled by Mercury. And so these two in opposition to each other, first of all, this is always going to bring a lower energy. Our energy is always going to be a little bit stifled. We're not going to be as motivated. We're not going to be as active. We're not going to have the just like gusto that Mars usually has when it's in an opposition or a conjunction to Neptune, because Neptune is where we fade away. Neptune is where we merge with all that is. Neptune does not give Mars any type really like of boost of energy. So that's why I was actually urging, like in my earlier videos this week, that we were probably going to want to get whatever important Virgo type things, errands, tasks, details, anything that we like, important day-to-day things that we needed to get done. We were probably going to want to do that in the beginning of the week, because once this aspect comes into effect today and tomorrow, we might just generally be feeling lower levels of energy, lower levels of drive, lower levels of passion and motivation to do the daily life things. Virgo is also the sign of the healer and rules health and our physical bodies. So keep that in mind as I go through this as well. But generally, you know, with this, there is just sort of a lack of motivation to do the daily life, day-to-day things, and to like work out and to, take care of like clean our house or do our errands or anything important that, you know, requires details and hard work as well, might be feeling just like stifled, and you might just kind of want to like hide or run away from it with the opposition going on to Neptune. Now, another aspect of this is like I said, Neptune rules Hollywood and fantasy and stories and projections and illusions. And with Neptune in opposition to Mars in Virgo, this also might be a period of time where there are a lot of media projections or movies or figures associated with Hollywood trying or making a projection, conveying a message, projecting an image that may not actually be in alignment with reality and truth, but that is happening for the purpose of spurring us into action somehow. And with the degree of Mars for this activation today, a lion tamer rushes fearlessly into the circus arena. A circus would kind of be ruled by, in some ways, by Neptune as well, because it's a show, it's a performance, it's not like an organically occurring event, right? So there may be with this increased projections coming from the storytellers or people that we would associate with being storytellers that are trying to engage us in some way into rushing in and fearlessly taking action that is actually a part of their staged show, that is actually a part of their pre-established circus, which we may or may not be aware of. And using these projections, using this influence, using this ability to tell stories and to create an image and to create an ideal and to create a fantasy and an illusion that causes us to want to take some type of fearless action, thinking that what we are doing is for our own purposes, but really it is a manipulation and a deception and actually causing us to create and participate in a show, a pre-established show, a circus that is not necessarily in alignment with how we really need to be spending our energy right now. And Mars also rules the ego. So with this, we want to be very careful that we are not acting from our ego to come in and save the day about something that actually may be more like a setup than an actual, like, organically occurring need for us to come in and save the day and be the hero. Mars rules the hero archetype. So we're definitely going to want to be careful with that. With this aspect in effect, we are definitely going to want to try our best to be conscious of the actions that we're taking and to be sure that they are coming from our common sense with Mars and Virgo, or also from our intuition and our connection to the divine, because of the Pisces Neptune element. That is very strong when we have Neptune in Pisces. This gives us a very strong ability to connect to spirit and to receive divine guidance and divine inspiration. And especially at that degree, a materializing medium giving a seance, it really does give us the ability to ask and receive answers and guidance and communication, and sort of like creates a bridge between the physical and the spiritual worlds. Virgo and Pisces. Virgo is a very physical earth sign. Pisces is the ultimate in water signs and rules the spirituality in the spiritual world. So our intuition, our spiritual connection, and our common sense are what need to be inspiring and motivating our action under this energetic this week, and not for sure any type of projection coming through people who would be associated with storytellers, Hollywood, media, or people that just are known for creating some type of image. We do not want a storyline or a narrative to be inspiring us into rushing in and taking any type of fearless action, because it says that this is a circus. This is something pre-planned. This is something that's been set up, and we don't want to create that and to engage in that through being manipulated or deceived into taking some of this action. And this is going to have a lot to do with our fears as well, because we are in a week that is very much about the black moon and black moon energetics. And there's a very strong ability to play on our fears right now to get us to conform or to, and also playing on our ego. We don't want like these projections to be bolstering our ego in a way that it makes us feel like we want to take action because we're getting some type of ego gratification for it. That's another thing that we want to watch out with this energetic. So that is really, you know, how this energetic can play out in the context of what's going on. Virgo, like I said, it's also the sign of the healer and health. And so this may also have a lot to do with what we need collectively to really heal at this period of time. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Now, another major theme with this that I want to bring up is Neptune rules oil. Like, for sure, Neptune is the ruler of oil. And historically, when Mars and Neptune come into an opposition with each other, this can cause gas prices to go up. This can make changes, and because it's Mars putting energy into it, like the oil, this could definitely cause over the next few weeks an increase in the prices of oil, or decrease in the supply of oil, or something about oil generally gaining some prominence or being a major theme of the next couple of weeks. And I also find this is interesting because remember, the degree where the black moon moved to yesterday and the degree where the north node is moving to tonight into conjunction is 6 degrees of Gemini. And this degree is workmen drilling for oil. So there is this theme about oil, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see something transpire globally in regards to the oil supply, the oil demand, the price of oil. Something about oil is likely to be triggered with this as well. And one last thing that I want to say about this aspect before I move on and start talking about everything else that's going on in the midst of this today is that Neptune also, you know, it rules the seas and what's happening under the surface, what's happening under the water, and it also rules hidden things and secrets. And especially in regards to Hollywood, in regards to the storytellers, in regards to media projections, in regards to the media. And I wouldn't be surprised with this as well if we get some like very serious secrets being revealed in regards to those things with Mars in opposition to Neptune. Because remember, right now, Mars is actually in an interesting place. Mars this past year when Mars was in Aries, his home sign, he made an extended stay in Aries this past year and went back and forth over the Eris Point, which is actually activated today by Venus as well, 3 times. And the Eris Point is like the ultimate break the chains, liberation at any cost to return to truth, integrity, and authenticity. And so Mars really, after making that voyage through his own sign of Aries and going through all of that this past time that he transited his home sign, is the way I'm perceiving Mars energy right now, it's actually much more in alignment with the spiritual warrior archetype. And Mars is playing a major role right now as well, because Venus and Mars are actually on this pursuit, even though they're not together right now, they're on this pursuit together that is going to take us through March of 2022, at which point they will both come into an exact conjunction with Pluto at the same time. And this is actually going to be doing a lot to bring us back into our own power and to reintegrate the masculine and the feminine archetypes within us and bring us to a place where we are much more whole and much more in our own mastery and able to create better independently going forward. And so Mars is it's just operating, in my opinion, from a more spiritual octave right now. And so with this, especially at this degree about the lion tamer as well, I do think, and Mars rules the youth, younger generations, I do think that there might be something with this also about like youth, or like a more youthful motivation, or like a more passionate motivation to like break through into spiritual truths, break through illusion, break through deception, break through manipulation, like slice through it. Mars rules blades. with this as well. So it's sort of like, energy always works in polarities. There's always a lower octave and a higher octave of the energies, and they're always playing out simultaneously. So with this, there is definitely going to be a massive push to manipulate and to deceive and to cause people to actually participate in that through their own actions. And the sun today, a boy molded into his mother's aspirations of him to mold humanity into a certain way of being, a certain aspiration. But on the flip side of that, this is also very secrets revealed, truth coming out, things coming to the surface energy. So while we are likely to see some massive pushes to get us to act based in deception, there's also a separate faction of things that is going to be simultaneously really driving a powerful force to uncover things, to uncover truth. And again, this is specifically going to be in regards to productions coming through from Hollywood or the media or just people associated generally with creating illusions, telling stories. So very interesting. We're likely to see this go a lot of ways, but we need to be aware of all of the potentialities. And I just wanted to emphasize that this aspect is just known for manipulation, deception, and with Mars at this degree, the lion tamer rushing fearlessly into the circus arena, we do not want to be manipulated through these projections to rush fearlessly into something thinking that we're there to save the day, but we're really creating and participating in the show, in the plan, in the setup with this. Yes. And again, this could definitely be in regards to themes having to do with health and healing because Mars is in Virgo. So all of those things. Now let's move on and talk about, I think I said everything. Truth being triggered for exposure, for sure. So now let's move on. I want to talk about the other aspects that we have going on in congruence with this today, because this is definitely not an isolated aspect. Like I said, it's like all the inner planets are involved in this today. And the inner planets, those are the personal planets. Those are like, individual, we're feeling this on a very individual level in our individual lives. It's playing out on the world stage as well, but we're all I wouldn't be surprised if people are going through a lot today. The moon is making 3 aspects today, and the moon rules our emotions, our internal environment, our feelings. And so there's definitely going to be a lot of feelings, a lot of deep feelings going on the side of this today. We have the moon is going to be making a moon in Cancer, late Cancer is going to be making a trine to Neptune, while Neptune is opposing Mars, an opposition to Pluto, and a square to Venus in Libra. And so we have a really deep and profound ability with this to connect, like I said, to connect to our intuition, to connect to spirit, and to really be intuiting truth with this. And with the opposition to Pluto, this is really taking us deep. This is really giving us an ability to see into the root of things, to see behind the curtain, to see into the depth. So on an emotional level today, we're actually being triggered for some type of very deep and profound spiritual alignments or revelations about something on an internal and an emotional level. And then we have the moon also coming into a square with Venus today, who is an exact opposition to the Eris Point. Again, the Eris Point is the one point in the zodiac, which is really truly about breaking the chains, throwing the apple of discord, getting out of anything that is holding us back in any type of way from really being able to align with our truth, with our integrity, and with our authenticity, basically at any cost. And Venus is in Libra, for this ruling relationship. So when we put all of these together, it's really we're finding things out, and it's coming through like on like an intuitive level, but we're also being able to like emotionally penetrate into like the very deep and complex like feelings and like aspects and dimensions of our psyche. And it's causing us to really want to sort of break free from any type of relationships that are hindering us from being able to stand in our truth and our authenticity. And definitely this could be bringing some type of relationship upsets today, with Venus in opposition to the Eris point, really wanting to break out of anything that is holding us back from moving towards our truth and our authenticity. So it's like, also though with this, it's like the moon is in Cancer, and so it's like what we need in square to Venus and Libra is not lining up with what we actually desire type of energy. So it's like we don't desire to be making these changes, but we're like compelled with the opposition to Pluto. It's like an obsession or a complex, or just very compelled. And there's like this spiritual component, this intuitive component to it as well. And this is happening internally in terms of our emotions and our feelings. And it's like we are just receiving this profound insight that is showing us what we need to break out of. And we don't desire to do this. We don't want to do this. This is not what makes us feel like peaceful and happy, with the moon in square to Venus opposite the Eris point. But this is what we know that we have to do on like very deep levels in order to liberate ourselves, so that we can come back into our self-love, come back into our self-value and our self-worth, and begin to create relationships and what we want in our lives in alignment with who we actually are and what truly is meaningful to us, the true nature of our heart. So, yeah, like heightened empathy, compassion, and intuition with the moon in trine to Neptune, and then opposing Pluto, deep, profound, powerful emotions. This can also bring up like emotional power struggles today, and also the desire to control other people's emotions with the moon opposite Pluto. So you're going to want to watch that and make sure that whatever you're dealing with is specifically in regards to what's going on with you, and that you are not trying to assert or to manipulate or to deceive or to project something onto someone else to get them to take action that may not be in alignment with their personal truth. We need to be very careful about this today, because relationships with Venus in opposition to the Eris point are definitely experiencing some turmoil today. It's like we just can't take it anymore. And that's the next thing actually that I wanted to talk about. We are seeing the truth emotionally today, and with Venus for this in exact opposition to the Eris point in Aries, ruled by Mars, in opposition to Neptune. This is definitely there is just a very strong likelihood that people are acting very rebellious in relationships, partnerships, finances, financial agreements, stuff like that today, if they feel that they are being hindered from really doing what they want in any type of a way. Venus opposite the Eris point, I wrote, a desire to break free from what holds us back from aligning with what's really in our hearts, and also what we truly need to have peace and balance. And this is definitely bringing up relationship issues with Mars in opposition to the Eris point. This is the type of energy where, like, if you've been in like some type of a relationship that you've been questioning for a while, or things just haven't really, you're not sure, if it's something that you want to continue or not, this energy today will probably give you a much better idea if this is really what's in the nature of your heart, and this really is what you want to make endure going into the future, or if you just need to break out of it today with Venus in opposition to the Eris point and the trine from the moon to Neptune, and the opposition from the moon to Pluto, just receiving some really deep and profound insights on an emotional level today that are driving us to make these choices, make these decisions, and feeling like we need to break the chains or break out of something to get what we actually want and desire, Venus in Libra, and to restore balance within ourselves. And again, bring back that personal value, that self-love, and that personal self-worth that we need so that we can create abundance, beauty, and like comfort in our lives going forward. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about today is another very interesting aspect that we have going on in the midst of all of this, and it's having to do with our mind. Like, we have it all involved today. It's like Mars, our action, our motivation, our inspiration to like do things and get things done. Venus, what we want, what we desire, relationships in our heart, the moon, our internal feelings, our emotions, the internal atmosphere that's going on inside of us, and Mercury, the mind, is also very relevant today as well. And that's because Mercury will be coming to Mercury moves quickly. Mercury moves pretty fast, and Mercury sometimes does 2 degrees a day. And Mercury's starting out the day at 5 degrees of Libra and will move to 6 degrees of Libra over the course of the day. And then remember, the black moon is also the black moon is at 6 degrees of Gemini, but the north node is moving back to 6 degrees of Gemini tonight. So there will be a point in time later in the night tonight when Mercury is at 6 degrees of Libra and the north node is at 6 degrees of Gemini. Libra and Gemini are both air signs. This will be forming an exact trine. Trines are aspects of ease and facilitation, and when trines are operating, things just happen. And we're talking about Mercury, the mind, thoughts, communications, understanding, and we're talking about the north node. The north node rules the path ahead, where we're going, the direction of the future, the way that the evolutionary course forward according to the universal blueprint for our highest and our best good. And so actually today, and it's so interesting because this is happening right before or in conjunction to the north node coming into a conjunction with the black moon in Gemini, ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is in trine for that exact conjunction. So this is big, and this is having to do with our mind. And remember, Mars is in Virgo right now, ruled by Mercury. So Mercury is actually sort of in charge of what's going on with Mars. And to start off the day at 5 degrees of Libra, Mercury is at the degree a man teaching the true inner knowledge of the new world to his students. So mentally today, we are actually aligning with the Aquarian archetypes, the Aquarian frequencies that are coming through, because that is the new world that we are moving into. And so it's like, with this Mars opposing Neptune, with the moon in trine to Neptune, with the moon opposing Pluto, we may be learning some things today, secrets coming out, learning some things from a very deep level that are actually helping us to understand the true inner nature of the new world, how things really need to be going forward. And that's interesting because it's aligning with the north node, which is the path forward. So we are learning some things today that are actually helping us to understand the way that we're going, which we need because we've been in a lot of shadow, a lot of fog. And with Neptune there is still a lot of deception. So we actually, though, can, and we are, in some aspects, this is pushing us to align mentally with the way that we need to go. Then Mercury will move to 6 degrees of Libra, and that degree is a man watching his ideals taking concrete form before his inner vision. And this is about manifestation. And this is in a direct trine with the north node at 6 degrees of Gemini. So we are actually manifesting the future with what is coming out today, with what we're learning, what we're finding out, and we really want to be careful that we are not manifesting the projections, that we are not manifesting the circus. So that's pretty much what I have to say today, you guys. My camera's about to shut off in like 30 seconds, so I absolutely have to wrap this up. We will talk more about this in the continuation tomorrow when we have the north node coming into a conjunction with the black moon and this trine. But overall today, secrets revealed, things coming out, and we definitely don't want to be taking action and imprinting and manifesting the future based on an illusion that is causing us to participate in a circus.